feel it now. It's all around me, a silent voice I can't deny. A mother's arms, how they surround me. They sing the beauty of my life.
It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain. This love, this love.
I close my eyes. It takes me over. A memory deep down in my soul, and safe from harm to be beside you. A light will shine upon the world.
It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain. This love, this love.
It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain.
It will last forever. It will never fade away. Never cause me pain. This love, this love.
This love, this love.
Om Shanti, everyone. Welcome to your spiritual vaccine hour. I'm your sister of the night, Sister Jenna. I hope you've been having a good day, and I hope you participated in some of the events for the World Unity Week. I just got off of a nice conversation on religion and spirituality in a time of crisis with Audrey Kitatagwa, the chairperson of the World Parliament of Religions, and Michael Beckwith from the Agape Spiritual Center, Deborah Maldo from Garden of Light, and the President Victor of the United Religions Initiative. And we talked very sincerely from our hearts about the deep growth that's taking place, not only in us as individuals on the path of spirituality or religion, but also the just fact that this particular pandemic and period that we're in has touched all of our lives. Not a single one of us are unscathed by the learning curve or the opportunity or the power to grow from this particular period that we're in. So, powerful times today. And we had a wonderful day for our America Meditating Retreat for our guests from America Meditating Radio, and was very, very heart-centered. We had Dr. Carolyn Mace from Sacred Soul, a beautiful medical intuitive author, woman of prayer, and the amazing Jean Houston that electrified us. Dr. Ivy Hilton of her Sound Spa took us through a wonderful journey. Sean Galloway sung us through, and Kristen Hoffman opened up our hearts. So it's been a full day today, and I feel blessed. I feel blessed. And you're blessed. You're blessed. You are fortunate. Your life has meaning. And the fact that we join each other every night speaks volumes as to the people that we are evolving into. That we care for that which is simple, sincere, genuine, pure-hearted. And I think that moves us into a place of abundance. You see, abundance comes based on the quality of our thinking. And it's something that I've explored a lot. I'll tell you a story. In the early days of the Brahma Kumaris, the founder of Brahma Baba, he had basically offered the whole of his earnings in the shaping of this culture of thinking. And 14 years or so later, all the money that he had put into it started to basically come to a close. And so he went into a deeper aspect of faith and not really worrying about the fact that there was no more money to feed a community of over 300 people. But he really turned the whole idea, this is God's work, this isn't mine, and whatever's going to happen will happen. So he went deeper into his faith, and sure and behold, on that particular day where they had no food, somebody came with a bag of rice, somebody came with vegetables, so on and so on. Folks went out, gave money, and then all of a sudden, his faith in saying, look, if I believe I don't have enough, then of course I'm going to feed I don't have enough. But if I believe in the power of thinking, and I believe that if I think it, and we're going to do a little experiment today, and I feel it, will it not come? And the only thing about this particular idea or practice is the patience behind it. It can happen quick based on the deep, deep, deep clarity of the intention. But sometimes when the intention still goes in and out, back and forth, where I get just a little bit of doubt in, will I be able to ever make it to the top? Will I be able to pay my bills, to have enough money to do what I want? If you ever question that, you slow it down. So let's say if you had 10 thoughts that my millions are coming right now. My millions are coming to knock on my door right this minute. But deep down in my heart, I'm like, ain't no million come knocking nowhere. Right? But that's like a private thought, like there's a tug of war, there's push and pull. So my best feelings is that, yeah, come on, bring the millions, they're coming. But somewhere else, if you ever checked yourself, there's another part in you that's also acting. And it's like, how in the world is that ever going to happen? And that energy has so much feelings in it, that it's pulling back the vision of saying, oh, millions are going to come knocking at my door. I've had this wish, and it was inspired by Daddy Janki's Sister Gita. And the wish was what Daddy Janki used to always say, that the only thing she's ever asked from God, remember, is a good intellect. She says, I don't need no money. I don't need fame. I don't need popularity. I don't need clothes. I don't need a car. Give me a good intellect, God. Give me a good intellect. And I thought about that a lot on my spiritual journey. And I said, what a great thing to have is a sharp, discerning, loving, good intellect. And when my intellect, which is where I focus my attention, which is where I make my choices, which is where my conscious choice is fed, it's my willpower. That once your intellect makes a promise to the self, can't it come true? I'd gotten some news, a few weeks ago. And after I got the news, I said, I'm not having any more coffee. I want to go on green juice. No more oil, no more this, no more that, no more sugar. I stopped. And I was observing myself that even, was it 2 days ago, Santosh? 2 or 3 days ago? I told Dr. Bradley Nelson, Lordy, 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 I woke up, oh Lord, can I just have 1 cup of coffee? That's not going to kill me. But I just felt, Sister Gita, I just felt that I would betray the promise I made to myself. And I said, no, just percolate it. At least you can smell it. So I made percolated coffee for no one, but for the ethers. And I said, at least let me smell the coffee. It's going to feel like I drank like 10 cups. And I just went by the coffee maker and I was just, it smells so good. Was that decaf or calf? Is that hazelnut? So it was such an interesting conversation. But the point that I'm making is that you have to develop the courage and the strength to keep your promises to yourself. Because each time you do it, it builds a certain kind of an inner power about you. It might not show its fruit immediately, because you don't know how much and how long you've been going against your strength. And you've been living small. You've been feeding the algae instead of the real soul conscious you. So when we do make these decisions, or we do have these thoughts to connect to the sanskaras, remember the sanskaras? Those recordings in the soul, the deep-rooted impressions inside of the soul, where you either have the sanskars of algae, which are acquired, or the sanskars of the original nature of the soul, love, peace, purity, truth, and joy. That all this effort that we're doing with our spiritual vaccine is to reduce that algae so that the real me can shine. And one of the unique things about this particular time of tragedy, with the pandemic, with the killing of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, the iniquities that we're seeing in front of our eyes, is that we question our good deeds. And I tell you, don't. And I'm speaking to you from a personal experience. If I, the soul, am the master of my destiny, and I tell my destiny, this is what I want, this is my order, this is my command, should not my inner being hear that and follow suit? So when it comes on to the spirit of abundance, to what extent do I have the abundance of experience of my self-worth, of my original nature of a soul? To what extent do I have the abundance of love and peace and purity and truth and joy and all of these natural sanskars that are in I, the soul? Am I abundant in spirit? And even though we look at abundance, house, car, jewelry, clothes, people, things, that is true. But how many pairs of shoes can you wear one at a time? How many cars can you drive at a time? What do we need? The abundance that I think we're really asking for is the abundance of spirit. So if I need something, the abundance of my spirit should make it happen. But because of those acquired sanskaras, that algae, I feel so much of the algae that it's holding back the original nature and worth of the self. I came across a very nice animated video by Abraham Hicks, and I want you to watch it because it has a lot to do with the quality of the way you think and the way you see yourself, and yet we have all these feelings and desires of wanting so much in life, but we are the same ones sabotaging our own destiny and our own fortune and abundance. So enjoy this for a little bit.
And are you refreshed? Good. Now what?
What an honor to meet you in person, Abraham.
It's nice to be in person. We're usually just a nebulous mist.
Please help me to trust, to believe in my financial capability to expand myself without efforting.
Well, your question was full of mixed vibrations, so you can't get there from there. In other words, just your attention on the effort activates it and holds it in your vibration, which keeps the struggle happening, doesn't it? Whenever anybody asks to trust more in anything, we always want to say, first you must trust in law of attraction, do you?
Yes,
So you believe that you get what you think about, whether you want it or not?
absolutely.
So it makes sense to you that every subject is really two subjects, wanted on one end and absence of it on the other. So if something that you believe that you desire is slow in coming, then it always means the same thing, that you're giving more thought time, more talk time, more air time to the absence of it than the presence of it. So you can always trust law of attraction to give you whatever balance you've got going on. So it's not such a matter of trusting, because law of attraction is always giving you exactly what you are emanating. So it's just a matter of associating what you're getting with how you're feeling, and then doing a little shifting of focus so that you shift the way you feel, and then the evidence shows up. The way that you come to your own personal sense of worthiness is by allowing the law of attraction to give you what you're asking for. So when you figure out what it is that you're thinking and how often you're thinking of it, that's sort of slowing it down, and you do that less by doing something else more, then what happens is you get into that receptive mode more often, where ideas come and you follow through on the ideas, right on through to the manifestation, right all through that sweet spot of things connecting and rendezvous happening and ideas flowing, and then you come to really trust in your ability to be or do or have anything that you desire. So you want to chew with us a little bit? And sometimes when you're close, it's of value to try to clean up your vibration a little bit. Often the best way of going about it is to stay off the subject that is bothering you and focus on a subject that is easier, because the whole effort thing is about you believing that it's hard. The reason that people want to talk about a specific issue is because it's not going the way they want it to. So when they take the issue that's not going the way they want it to, and that's what they want to talk about, usually they practice it more into not working than into working, because your vibration is where it is, and talking about it usually just puts a sort of magnifying glass on where it is. So give us a little conversation about what it is you are desiring relative to money.
I'm desiring to have more than enough. If I could today do what I really want to do, I want to be able to travel and leave $100 bills under pillows so the person who made my bed gets blessed, because I've been there, I've made beds. And I want to be a person who helps somebody else's life feel a little bit happier. Right now I work in a nonprofit organization in a cubicle. I feel like I'm in a box of nonprofit. I want to profit, I want to be generous. I want more than enough.
So when you think about leaving that $100 bill under the pillow, talk to us about how that feels.
I feel good giving gifts and helping somebody else feel happy too, by helping them.
So do you believe that they have a stream of abundance flowing to them?
If that's where they're at in their law of attraction.
What we're asking is, who's leaving the $100 bills under your pillow?
That's what I gotta get to. Help me get there.
This is really worth talking about, because you want a whole lot of money so that money is not a factor for you. And you want to leave $100 bills, or 5 or 10 of them. You want to leave $1 million under somebody's pillow.
Mm-hmm. Why not?
Well, the reason that we're playing with you a little bit here is because sometimes there is a misunderstanding of how the abundance comes. And sometimes you get too far out into the story of manifestation before you step in. And by that we mean, we were visiting with a woman fairly recently who wanted an extra $100,000 right away so that she could travel. And we wanted her to understand that there was a lot more to the process of that abundance coming to her. She wanted the $100,000 to just come so that she could do with it what would please her, in the same way that you want the abundance to come so that you can leave it under pillows for others. And we want you to acknowledge how much more there is to the process of the abundance coming, and that by the time you're desiring it for travel or for fun or for upliftment of others, that a lot has happened in the process. And if you would acknowledge how much has already happened, then it would be easier for you to allow it to come into your mind, into your impulse, into your life experience. There is abundance raining down all around all of you, but in the feeling that it isn't raining down fast enough, or in the feeling that poop to value, that you have to give too much effort for the value that you're getting, then you block it off. So if you are going to stubbornly focus on the subject of abundance, then you have to find a way to think about it in a way that's not resistance with it. So is there evidence of abundance in your experience other than money? And we know money is flowing. You want it to come in an easier way, and we want it to come in all kinds of ways to you. Is there abundance that is coming to you other than the abundance of dollars that you are speaking of?
Absolutely. I have good relationships in my life.
So focus specifically on the idea of abundance of good things, and just speak softly and confidently to us about it.
Help me out some more.
There is an abundance of sweet smelling air around this planet. And every time Esther comes into a new city, the first thing she does as she steps out into the atmosphere is she takes it in with appreciation and notices the differences of it. Dry air is different than more humid air. And sometimes there are sweet fragrances. There is atmosphere in the air that she can sense and smell. But she never stops appreciating this really high quality, good feeling, really important to her experience, abundance of air. It's just something that's always there, but she never takes for granted, because there's something so nurturing about it the abundance of beautiful buildings, beautiful rooms like this one, the abundance of beautiful people and relationships, the abundance of never-ending questions and therefore never-ending answers, the abundance of food, the abundance of well-being, the abundance of highways and waterways and conveyances and people to help her along her way, abundance everywhere she looks, abundance of people standing in places doing things that she doesn't want to do, but it's at a vibrational place for them that they are finding satisfaction from it. And so abundance of people, of traffic directors and people who build the roads, and abundance of all things that make for this world, abundance of all of that. And you just can't focus like that for very long without beginning to feel blessed, without beginning to acknowledge your worthiness. Abundance of good timing, abundance of well-wishers, abundance of people doing good jobs, abundance of people being joyful, abundance of people helping out in all kinds of different ways. There's just such an abundance of connectivity and networking and well-being. Now, there was not resistance within any of you as we focused there. That's abundance, and those kinds of conversations hold you in a vibration that allows the abundance that you've asked for and the abundance that's been gestating in your own vortex to show itself to you in other ways. And because we stayed off the subject of currency or credit or cash, then any habit of thought or belief that you have about that was not activated during this conversation. So your abundance vibration was enhanced by a conversation like this. You're in a different vibrational place. And you can tell that feeling of trust comes because it wasn't a satisfying conversation to some extent. Weren't those words satisfying? And didn't you resonate with them? Don't you feel that too? And so you stayed off the subject that activates resistance and focused on subjects that activate what you're wanting. Practice the vibration of desire, and your point of attraction has shifted from just that much focus. That's what you do. And then, because now your point of attraction is shifted, everything's going to shift. You're going to meet nicer people. Air is going to smell better everywhere you go. More money is going to flow more easily into your experience. And as you make the association between the manifestations that will happen and the conversation that you just deliberately projected, then you come to trust in your ability to let it in, because it's trusting in your reception that is all that is necessary here. You're asking and it is answered. In other words, it's a done deal. And the abundance, if you could see the abundance that is gathered up in your vortex, you don't have time to spend all of the abundance that you have gathered that is flowing to you. In time, we will have seminars on de-manifestation. It'll be a burden, all the money you're carrying around for those pillows. What's in the bag? Pillow stuff. What do you mean? I'm gonna leave it under the pillow.
Yes.
Seems like a lot. It is. I started out with $100 bills, but it just got out of hand.
Yes.
We're not kidding you. Whatever you ask for has come. You just have to figure out how to let it in. And that feeling of fear, or that feeling of concern, or that feeling of worry, or that feeling of overwhelmment, or that feeling of injustice, or that feeling of being in a box, that feeling of being in a box, that feeling of paying too big of a price for the abundance that comes. You got to keep that poop to value in balance. You do. You got to keep your desires and your beliefs in balance in order for you to receive all that you have accomplished vibrationally. Helpful?
Yes.
Wasn't that perfect? Did everybody like that video? Not only the animated version I thought was very soft, but it was how Esther was saying we are sabotaging our own abundance. And today being Meditation Monday, I would like to invite us into a meditation on abundance, because if we have dreams and goals and we have a vision for the more, not because we have little, but the more is because the soul is abundant. And we both know, if we're honest with ourselves, we're still not utilizing the capacity of the soul's power. And how do we know that? Is that we're still getting affected by the way this one said this, the way this one did that. Well, they didn't do this. Well, they should have done that. Well, who are they to say this? And all of that says, I'm still down. I'm not all the way optimized up yet to even receive spiritual abundance, much less monetary abundance, right? So let's see if we can understand the energy of what abundance feels like by us doing a little meditation practice. You ready? Thumbs up, everybody. Was that on fire, that session just now? Did you like that? It was sweet, huh? Okay. So ready? Now get yourself in position and be comfortable. And just settle. And I'd like you to be very, very specific about one aspect of abundance for you. For me, I'm going to be very specific to have the abundance of physical health. You choose yours. And go inside and imagine who is the master here. The body, the external environment, the job, the relationship, or I, the soul. It is the soul. And just allow yourself to settle in inside of yourself for a little until you start to feel like you've landed inside. And whatever your visual is of what specific form of abundance you will master or co-create, visualize it. And in your visualizing it, allow the mental energy, your thought energy, the sanskars, to experience it. I'll give you some time until you can settle into that space. So as you settle inside, behind your eyes, in the soul, ask the self who's in charge. Who's the magician here? Who has the ability to make something disappear and something appear just through the power of a thought? It's you. Allow your energy to really settle inside of yourself very comfortably. And if thoughts are coming and going that has nothing to do with your specific focus, don't feed into it. It's not important. It'll go. It'll go on its own. It only stops when you think about it, when you feed it. So if who I am is the master of my destiny, and as I sit here, I, the master, create the abundance of good health, then emerge the experience of being in the form of your specific intent, vision, idea of your form of abundance. Whether it is abundance in money, health, relationship, possessions. Be very specific and see how your inner world will feel when you have attained them. Observe how all of your energy is being harnessed inside of the soul. Putting all the mechanics and the energies of thought together to manifest what your abundance will be. The feelings have to match the thought. Can you feel the power of your abundance increasing at this time? If there are any other thoughts that are coming in and out of your mind, again, don't feed them. Just focus on your specific thought of abundance. That's all that matters right now. Take a deep breath and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Breathe in again and out. And don't think about the specific thought that it should happen right now, that it should manifest in this very second. Let it go. Just let it go. Let it go. And be free. And make it happen. Just let it go. One of the things I love about our Monday meditations is that it takes us to a deeper place. And it gives us the honoring of the spirit. It honors the soul. And what I love about Raj Yoga meditation, which is taught by the Brahma Kumaris, is that you will continue for the rest of your life to explore the depth of the world behind your eyes. And you won't do it alone, because you'll have the presence and the energy of the Supreme with you. This very abundant light of purity and wisdom and love, that as it keeps filling you up, you start to actually remember and see you from the world behind your eyes, not the world outside of your eyes. And you begin to value not only physical relationships, but spiritual relationships. Become very high on your list. There might be sometimes a lack of abundance in relationship in some areas. And there could be a lot of abundance in other areas. The success comes if you can find abundance in all the areas. Mind, health, finance, relationships. Even if they're all at the same particular percentage, it's successful. But if one is up, the other one's down, I'm not so good with relationships, I can make something positive into something negative with my mind, because my mind is not so optimistic, then that's going to throw you off. And you're not going to feel abundant. You'll feel like a lack, because there's one particular area, of those 4 areas, there's something pulling you. And it's taking your spiritual potential from you. So the energy of the soul is leaking, love or peace or purity or something from somewhere. You're not as strong as you want to be, and you can feel it. And the proof of that is you get agitated quickly, you doubt yourself, you get into waste thoughts, you feel incomplete, you feel insecure, and that's all the signs that I'm not spiritually abundant. And what's important about being consistent in your journey is that it's in the consistency that the soul starts to really trust itself. If you've ever been in a relationship with a partner or a spouse, and they did something that betrayed your trust, it takes you a long time to trust in that person again. If you've ever worked with somebody in the workplace and they might tell you, oh, I've changed, and then they go right back to an old behavior, something in you will say, no, they haven't changed, they're still the same. So in the same way, when it comes onto yourself, if you're building the fact, the belief, the faith that you are an abundant spirit, and that means I can't go back to old, because I will be signaled, you can't trust you. You don't mean it. You don't really mean it that you want to be powerful beyond measure. You say it, but you don't mean it. Because if you meant it, you wouldn't go back. So in order to build the energy of abundance, you have to remain committed and consistent with it. And there are times it'll feel hard, because it's only hard not because of the effort. It's hard because you're getting to another level, and your past, the algae, still has some power over you. And it's kind of saying, you're going too far ahead. Don't go any further. Where do you think you're going? You really think you're going to be free and mentally powerful? Stay here. It holds you back, you see. So that's why even our time together that we spend every night, you have no idea how important it is to build that mental resolve, to be consistent, to be committed, to be dedicated to your self-preservation, but self-empowerment, to take care of your spirit, your soul, and to trust that the energy of God's love has got you. And if you trust that, the soul will be okay. The soul will be okay. All right. Any questions before we close off for a meditation? Anyone has any thoughts in their hearts? Anyone has anything they'd like to say? Everyone's enjoying today? Are you enjoying your Monday meditation? It's nice to be with everyone. So if there are any questions, feel free. If not, then we can just go into meditation again. Yeah? Would you all want that? Okay. So why don't we continue with the same specific intent? Okay? So we held the first meditation with that specific intent on abundance in a particular way. And when you got out of the meditation, you just let it go. You're like, I'm okay. Let it go. No attachment to it. No waiting for it to work. Just let it go. Let it go. Keep it pure. Keep it pure. Now let's go back in again. And I'll ask Santosh to play a nice, really nice meditation. Have like a nice commentary, Santosh? Okay, great. So what we'll do is start off first. Take a deep breath in. Release. Breathe in again. Release. Emerge your specific intent and focus again for your abundance. What are you visualizing that you want to be abundant in? Settle yourself inside. See what you're like. Feel what it will be like to fulfill this vision, intention of abundance in whatever area you've chosen for yourself. For me, it's health. And let us create those feelings and settle in that. Breathe. Breathe again. Gently keeping your eyes open and your heart open. You slowly get out of the chair, moving easily as you exit the room of your most cherished moments. You walk towards the room across from you. You now leave behind your cherished thoughts. And in this other room are your challenges, your greatest hurdles, the burdens you've had to bear, that part of you that's blocked or stuck. Upon entering the room, there's a gray haze. The light is dim, but there's also a chair in this room by the window. But before you can even walk over to it, you are struck by many faces, places, and things that you've carried as burdens that you bear. Events that left you feeling powerless, ashamed, guilty, frightened, angry, bewildered, and a little uneasy. You walk past them as quickly as you can towards the chair by the window, and you sit, capturing your breath again and taking deep breaths. Your heart beats a little faster here. You want to close your eyes so you don't see the faces, the places, the events. Yet, there's that warm, gentle light still aglow by the window, awaiting you by the chair for you to sit. You move towards it and sit in the chair, wishing desperately to remove, to erase, to delete these faces, places, events. You try to shut out these feelings of discomfort, but they persist. You try to close your eyes, but you still find yourself being pulled into their vibrations, into their energy, silently allowing yourself time to build the courage to see them for what they were, knowing that they were what they were, that it was all destined to happen, that it was a story that you had to carry. And you ask yourself, do I still have to carry these with me inside. How do these faces and places and events serve me? Where was I in my journey that attracted them to me? Not why me, but where was I inside myself that attracted them to me? Where was I consciously when I had my name on it? Here you find yourself somehow feeling a gentle courage coming to life. It's an acceptance, a kind of truth that begins to offer you a deep degree of freedom. A freedom you've been seeking from your external world, but could never find it. With each second, you find courage becoming your armor to birth the power to face and the power to let go of fear and deception. An energy to which you have become accustomed and one that blocked you from living your calling and real purpose. Can you hear yourself? It now whispers to you, I see. I see. I see you. This burden, this pain, this blockage, it isn't me, but a part of me that I attached my identity, and it has held me back. I'm realizing this deep, deep realization gives you passage to see them for what they were, and now release. Release them. Release them as far as you can. At least, release them for this moment in time. Thank you all for joining us for Monday meditations, and I hope that there was something very specific and very palpable that touched you this evening. I know for me it definitely did. Something I want to focus a lot on before I go to bed at night too. So thank you for your love and your care and your beauty and your dignity and your divinity and your kindness and your love and your power and your virtues, all of these things that's needed for the future golden aged world that we are definitely co-creating. So have a wonderful night. Be very calm, very peaceful. Focus on that intent today. Keep working until you can feel it, till your whole being can feel that reality. Don't let it go. Don't let it go for anything until it comes true. Om Shanti. Good night, my friends. See you tomorrow night.